Hello!
Bonjour to our Canadian audience. If you're in Montreal.
Canada, my Canada.
Your lifetime journey for a traveler.
Anyway.
Before we hit that high note.
So, let's get things started. Welcome to See
you
You
real
Real
soon.
Soon. We are really excited this week because this is going to be our first ever two-part episode!
2. This week we're going to bring you an overview of Disney's Pop Century Resort.
And next week, we'll be bringing you on an actual walkthrough of the resort.
Yay! We do the walking for you! So the first thing that comes to most people's mind when they think about vacation is cost. How much does it cost to stay at Disney's Pop Century Resort? Well, it all depends on the time of the year, because there's inflation and this and that. But so Disney's Pop Century Resort is a value category resort, which means
It's one of the least expensive.
yay! More money for souvenirs!
Although it's one of the least expensive resorts, it doesn't lack in quality.
Pop Century is a beautiful and fun resort for both families and, as evidenced by us, couples. So the main building of Pop Century Resort is the one you will first see when you arrive. Inside the main building, you will find Everything Pop Food Court, you will find Everything Pop Gift Shop, you will find the arcade, and you will find the check-in and concierge desks. Once you leave there, the rest of the resort is there for you to visit. And what will you find there?
You'll find 5 themed areas of the resort.
Each one based in a different decade.
We've got the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s.
But wait, I thought it was called Pop Century, not Pop Half Century. Oh, that's because Disney never finished the other half of the resort. It now is called Disney's Art of Animation Resort. That was originally intended to be the 0s to the 40s.
Which is on the other side of the Generation Gap Bridge.
So it's within walking distance if you want to check it out.
There are also 3 pools. One of them is between the 80s and 90s, and that's the computer pool.
On the other side of the resort, in the 1950s area, you have the bowling pin pool.
And right in the middle, in the 60s, is the biggest pool, which is the Hippy Dippy pool.
So you may have noticed the 70s weren't mentioned. They have to find a different pool to use. I mean, they're not very far away, but there's not one adjacent to the 1970s section of Pop Century.
So if you've ever seen a map of Pop Century, you might think the resort is kind of big. And
You'd be right.
yeah, it's pretty big.
From the furthest rooms, in the deepest nether regions, you can expect about a 6 to 7 minute walk back to the main building. And that's where the food court is. So it's a little bit of a long walk if your tummy's rumbling. Or, after a long day in the parks, it'll feel like a long walk back to your room. It can feel like a long walk back to your room.
It's really not that bad of a walk.
What?
You'll get used to it. One thing that we noticed the last time we were at Pop Century is that if it's in your budget, you might want to look into a preferred room. It's the shortest walk to the food court as well as from the bus stops.
Yay! Why do I say yay all the time?
Yay!
4 classifications of rooms at Walt Disney World.
I didn't do it that way. Is that the European way?
Yeah, because when I did this, I could see my thumb and it looked bad.
Okay.
4 classifications of rooms at Walt Disney World at Pop Century. There are 4 classifications of room at Disney's Pop Century Resort. 1 is your standard room. Your standard room is anything that's not an upgrade. You'll see the parking lot, the lake, bushes. The second set of rooms is the preferred rooms, which are your closest to the main building. Your third classification of room is your pool view, in which case your room will view the bowling pin pool or the computer pool. The final classification is preferred pool view, which combines the second and the third, and your view is of the Hippy Dippy pool very close to the main building and very close to the pool. One big advantage of staying at Pop Century over the All-Star Resorts is the bus system. At the All-Star Resorts, all 3 All-Star Resorts often share buses, so by the time the bus gets to your resort, it may be full. So if you want a value resort that has its own bus system, Pop Century is a good choice. The buses only go to Pop Century.
What is Pop Century closest to?
The closest would be Disney's Hollywood Studios and Disney's Animal Kingdom, both about 5 to 7 minutes away by bus.
Whereas Magic Kingdom and Epcot are a little bit further with about 15 minutes bus ride. I think one of the first things that really surprised us about Pop Century when we stayed there the first time was the awesome food court.
Yes. The food court at Pop Century is broken up into 4 bays. Each bay has a different theme of food. One bay is sandwiches and salads. The second bay is
a mix of American foods like burgers and steak and cheeses.
And chicken fingers. The third bay is Italian.
Mamma mia!
The fourth bay varies by night and can include things like meatloaf, fried chicken, and
Mexican, Chinese food.
It's really all over the place.
And in the morning, there's a variety of different breakfast options at the different bays.
There's breakfast pizza,
wraps,
French toast,
scrambled eggs,
pancakes. There's also a cooler in the back with lots of different fruits, vegetables, salads, and a bakery with different muffins and bagels and danishes.
So to put it in perspective, if you've been to the parks before and have been to Epcot, you might remember Sunshine Seasons. And that food court is very much like the Pop Century food court, where there are lots of options and places to sit. So we've gone over pretty much everything around the resort, but we left one thing out. What's inside the rooms?
All rooms at Pop Century have either 2 double beds, which will fit 4 people, or 1 king bed, which will fit 2 people.
And a more recent change is that they now offer a small fridge in every room.
Woohoo!
One thing that I appreciate is that they give you an extra vanity outside the bathroom so that you don't have to worry about it getting all steamy and you can get ready for your day while someone else is in the shower. For those wondering, is Pop Century the right place for me and my family? We'd like to say to you that Pop Century is a really affordable place to stay, as well as having great dining options, and has a great family and fun environment.
Sounds good to me. So remember to stay tuned for part 2 next week, where we take you on an actual walkthrough of Disney's Pop Century Resort. Until next time,
see you real soon!